All right. We're talking Michael J. Burry. The man, the myth, the legend. Another one of the prophets that the book of Revelations must have been talking about. So, check this guy out. He's, from what I understand, like, I don't know much about his history, but like anything that you just said on the Big Short, the movie, basically it seemed like he went to college, he did everything right, but he just like never really, or maybe no, that's what it was. He did everything right. He worked for like the Fortune 500 companies type investment firms, and then he walked away and went and found a little hedge fund and started investing their money. And then the Big Short happened, and that's where he made his nine figures. And he's some type of economist. He's very good with computers, very good with numbers, very good with um, Excel and all. And I would imagine he's very good with programming. I don't actually know the programming part, but the Excel part, I'm super confident he's very, very fluent in. And ultimately, I don't know exactly when it's. I mean, it definitely started with all his GameStop stuff. I mean, when GameStop popped at the end of January, he had a tweet. Let's see what it's called. All right, so he had a tweet, and what did it say? It said, pretty sure he had a tweet that I screenshotted, I thought. Maybe not. Oh. There really can't be another GME. Nothing else was even close to as shorted 100% of float. So small, microcap, and so hated, ignored, dismissed prior to the Big Short's squeeze. It was uniquely perfect setup. There won't be another like it, much like hashtag the Big Short. And he posted this back in January, right after GameStop and AMC were halted. Um, you can tell by the way he's talked, like all the things I'm about to show you on my computer are things that he has said since this time. And he never really talked about GameStop again. I thought there was one thing that I had that said that he said something slightly about it, but didn't really say good or bad. But I can't even find it in my screenshots. And so I'm gonna go over the ones I have. Some of these are double posted just because I couldn't remember which ones I screenshotted, and I just kept screenshotting and screenshotting and screenshotting. Like I wanted to make sure I got all of his tweets because he kept deleting all of them. Um, I believe that he is uniquely qualified to basically help me. So basically, anytime that I have an opinion, like if I'm talking to the government, right? If I'm talking to the government, I'm telling the government the way they need to be and like how we're going to change things up, super price the luxury items of life, and all of us that work hard get to be all about that. But like everyone else gets a little bit easier of a life from now on. And he's all about like his whole post. He had a little header on his Twitter for a long time, and it was about an article written about him. I don't know exactly where it's at. I'm sure if you Google Michael J. Burry and nuclear energy article or something, you will find it. But basically, he talks about, or the article writes about him saying, where Michael J. Burry basically says, nuclear energy can be free energy for everyone if we just do it and do it right. And right now, there's just no energy to help anyone in real life. And so, yeah, and so that's like one of his biggest solutions. He wants to end the Fed. He wants to do nuclear power and give free power to everybody. And he thinks luxury should be taxed a lot higher, but that a lot of other things like houses and food and water should be a lot cheaper. I might be putting some of those last words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure he feels that way. And if he does, and he's as good as a person as I'm feeling like he is, like me and him are going to be good friends. We're going to work together. I got no doubts. Um, Last thing before I go into the tweets and I start giving you my opinions on everything he tweets and all that good stuff. Um, right before I made enough money to where I can just feel like I'm at peace, like right now, like so February 24th and 25th when it went from 70,000 to 1.2 million, Like that moment, like that was so satisfying. Like I knew it was coming and it came and it was amazing. I knew it was coming and it came and it was amazing. And the only reason like I felt like I did like there was a lot of like I wouldn't call it pressure or stress, but there was just like euphoria around my heart. Like I just had so much energy in my body, and it was because the night before Michael J. Burry posted an Excel page and the numbers were just and just going to millions of dollars, and I'm just like, in my brain, the only thing I know that, and I like you guys know, I know numbers can move like that is options, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting paid, and then the market opens and nothing, totally flat. I mean, maybe up like 10%, and then like towards the end of the day, it's up 10%, 5%, 15%, back and forth all day long. It's 1:40 p.m. my time, and that means there's 20 minutes till the market closes, and boom, it jumps all the way to 30% real quick, going just kind of bouncing 30% to 28% to 32%, bouncing, and boom, in 3 seconds, it's at 100%. And it's like 1:50 p.m. and boom, the Fed turns off the stock market, and they didn't even open it all the way until the next morning. So like they closed it 10 minutes early, and it was at 100% up. In the after hours, it shoots up to another 100% up, and then it ended up opening 70% up or something. Um, Maybe 50% up, and then climbed to 70, and then they halted it, and then it fell again. And before it halted and fell again, I was able to cash out 500,000, but also move a bunch of options to different expiration days, and that were like have expired by now. But and so since then, I've brought in another 100,000, and I'm betting it all again. And you guys know where my spots are. And if you don't, like, I go over my account balance in this video maybe a dozen times. So you just gotta watch my videos, I guess. Um, let's see here. um, all right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We just got a little bit of an update. I ain't worried about my emails and people. I mean, you're saying you're gonna get exposed. Like, man, honestly, if you guys are scared of getting doxxed or anything like that, you probably shouldn't. Like you can always just watch and stay in the background and hear all the crazy things I gotta say and do whatever it is you want to do based off what I say. But if you guys are worried about getting doxxed, if you guys are worried about people coming after us, like the only thing that I could see is that they just totally ignore me. But the best thing that could happen to me right now is that the news does a story on me and says how much they hate me and says that I said I was Jesus and I must be a monster. Like anything like that is just the best thing that could ever happen to me. So like if they want to come at me and try to dox me and try to talk about all the bad things I've done and all the debt that I've owed and still like kind of owe, like I owe to big people, I don't owe to the small people no more. And so the big people like banks and stuff like Chase Bank and credit cards and like the people like sure I owe them. I got maybe $50,000 of debt I need to cover still, and it's gonna take me probably a month to do it because I gotta get a credit report pulled. I don't even think like this stuff happened years ago, and I just don't even care about it. And so I don't know. I'm prepared to pay everything. Like obviously, I'm gonna wipe the slate clean when this whole thing's done and I cash out my $100 million or whatever. But like they can wait. Like I said, they're a big bank. They're not hurting. I didn't hurt nobody. Like they're not. I have hurt people, but not in this situation. So if somebody wants to hate, they can hate all they want. Yada yada yada. I don't know. Like I got this story that I feel like I have to read to everybody, and then you guys help me critique it and decide if it's ready to be posted. How do you feel about that? Always learning. If I go over to Michael Burry and then I go through and I read this whole DD and the whole chat gets to tell me what's good, what's bad, and everything in between, you agree? Is that okay? You like it? Let's see. Nice. All right, guys. Alrighty, McGovey says, please read because I cannot. I don't know if that means like you're busy and you aren't able to read and you need to hear somebody say it, or if that means like you're physically incapable of reading because you never learned how to read and yet you still have a lot of money invested in GME and AMC. That would make me very happy to know that we got some strong apes like that. Because if you can't read but you're still making money out there, I'm impressed. All right, so Michael J. Burry, what have I not said yet? Oh, yeah, so that whole Excel thing, all the numbers flicking, he's access to something where he gets to see what's happening to the options that nobody else is seeing, that I can't see. Like, if I would have, like, for sure seen that, I would have sold all $60,000 of my stocks and I would have put it in the options before it popped. But, like, I didn't know. I felt like I knew, but, like, I only put $10,000 in, you know? And I didn't even cash out that much because I didn't know they were gonna halt it again. I thought I was in the mindset the next time that it pops, it's going all the way up because they wouldn't let people keep coming in and keep coming in. But I guess there's like, I don't know. I still feel like they know they're done. They have to know they're done. And if they don't know they're done, then we just got to keep buying these April or these June AMC calls. And here in a little bit, they're going to realize how much risk is building up every single day, the more days that those contracts are being bought. And all of a sudden, boom, they're just gonna let it go and they're gonna cut their losses and it's gonna be brutal for them. Oh, all right. So Michael J. Burry, just that whole Excel thing, the fact that he's capable of seeing the thing 12 hours before it actually happens is baffling to me, and I want to know how he did it, and hopefully someday he tells me. And I'm curious to know if, because he had that type of access, if it made it to where it's like illegal for him to be able to trade on that information. I'm just curious about all that. So much curiousness. All right. Let's see here. So this was like his last real post, and it's in Vietnamese, which is what his family is, or his wife's family is. And it says, "You know my position now. No need to hear more from me." And he posted this about 2 weeks ago now, almost 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow, 2 weeks ago, and basically saying, just let the cards lay out. It's all over. But the fat lady's the last thing to happen, and she's about to sing, and we know it's all over. And so he's saying, just hold on to your horses, be prepared. What else did he say? he gave a thing that said which states are the most giving, and so I feel like they're definitely Republican states, and so he has a tweet where he talks about how Republicans are the more giving people, and it like they say that the government didn't make me do something, I'm more likely to do it because now I haven't already done it under the government's terms, and this is like a stat that he basically uses to say that Republicans are putting their money where their mouth is by being the most generous people around to homeless people and stuff. So like this is how much they give away to like people they see on the streets, their neighbors, family, whatever, you know. And that's the tweet that I just read. Okay, instead of the Fed's twist, how about a tax twist? Eliminate legality of taxes on fuel, alcohol, and cigarettes. Allow a 50% luxury tax on just about everything luxury, from handbags to yachts. Feds impose nuclear and make electricity free. Progressive tax. ESG versus progressive tax. I'm all about this because this is about like having a government, or in other terms, me, doing something where we create like a bunch of things that are monopolies, but nobody takes off the top. We only lose money paying for this, but everyone pays for it together. And it provides free certain things for everybody, such as electricity for everybody. Some type of bedroom, kitchen, shower, bathroom combo for everybody. And then just tax the things that we all know are luxuries and everybody can live without. And it's that simple. I don't know what the eliminate legality of taxes on fuel, alcohol, and cigarettes. Like, I agree, no taxes on fuel, but why not tax alcohol and cigarettes? I'm actually a huge fan of taxing both because those are like the ultimate luxuries in my mind. Like, if you aren't 100% on your game right now, you should not be drinking alcohol. That's the worst thing you could do. Alcohol, like, I had to walk away from alcohol so many times just because I couldn't keep moving on with my life or progressing with my life as long as I kept it in my life. Cigarettes, I quit smoking on September 23rd, which is my birthday last year. So about 6 months ago, I quit smoking, and I smoked every day, a pack a day for a decade. So I'm all like, I love cigarettes. I know all about it. Me and my girl made a deal that every birthday I have from here on out, I can smoke a cigar or cigarettes or whatever I want on my birthday. Um, and yeah, so maybe I will, maybe I won't. I haven't needed to smoke in all this time. I'm feeling pretty good. So life is good. The tweet below the tax one, it says, for Vietnamese in the Bay Area, we have been longtime customers of Pho Vi Ho in Los Altos for traditional fare, always fresh for something very special. Pho Ha No in San Jose or Cupertino, both family run, not chains, and could use patronage. So he's just asking people to help out if you're in the area. Then he says, the best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Thanks, Yeats. And I think that's the best way to describe Republicans and Democrats. Republicans have no conviction and never stand up or fight for anything, while Democrats are absolutely the worst and the stupidest, and they are so passionate and so loud and so angry. And right now, nobody's brave enough to stand up and put them in their place, and it's just because it's not even brave enough. It's no one smart enough. And I believe I got the tools to do the job. It's called Dismantling Racism in Mathematics Instruction, but reads like Dismantling Mathematics Instruction for Americans. Racist Math, China, Russia, Gates Foundation, WTF, equatablemath.org. Bill Gates' money says white supremacy culture shows up in math classrooms when... So Bill Gates has a book out, and I'm told it's very good. I'm going to get it and mainline the wokeism. How to avoid a climate disaster, the solutions we have, and the breakthroughs we need. It's called this. Okay, I've already read that one below it. All right, you just got blocked. How do I block? There we go. Blocked. Later. Um, so before I go on to the next thing, Bill Gates, he's like, he's got some serious videos where he's talking about depopulation and sterilizing people and getting the population to 100 million people long term. All of that stuff sounds super sketch to me. Like anyone that talks about we have 7 billion people on this planet. Anyone that's not talking about having 15 billion people on this planet in 50 years from now needs to go. You hear what I'm saying? If we don't double the planet's population 50 years from now, if you ain't on board with that, you probably don't get an opinion or you don't get to be around because life wins all the time. You guys, you like thinking you can bring our population down to 100 million is insane, and we will fight. And we will win. If you are an older sort, find a few young guys that are doing well with their stocks the last year. First, ask them about their successes, congratulate them, get them going. Then ask them what each company does. They won't know because everything was a momentum stock this last year and everything ran up. But if you were in the big wins, they were just stocks that everyone was investing in because everyone else was investing in. It had nothing to do with the company. No stock is connected to no company. There's no such thing as fundamentals. It's all fake and it's all being run by the Federal Reserve and they choose what price they want anything to be at whenever. The only thing that can stop it is when hedge funds go and they want to make something happen or when people come together and go in one spot. Because as a bunch of people together, we put our money in one spot. It's big enough to act like a hedge fund and we win. All right, regarding Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, might bulls be underestimating the already established network effect embodied in the global fiat economic system that chooses a captain and is then beholden to support that captain until said captain changes? China 2028. And other cryptocurrencies, might bulls be underestimating the already established network effect embodied in the global fiat economic system that chooses a captain and is then beholden to support the captain? So it sounds like he's saying Bitcoin has opportunity if everyone chose it. That's what I hear. I could be interpreting that wrong. But then if you keep reading, he says, regarding Bitcoin, will central banks ever use it as a store of value, or will they be compelled to handicap it and relegate it to a niche status like so many promissory notes? Long term, this is what matters in a world of centralized, powerful, violent, and ruthless governments. Then he says, Bitcoin is a speculative bubble that poses more risk than opportunity, despite most of the proponents being correct in their arguments for why it is relevant at this point in history. If you do not know how much leverage is involved in the run-up, you may not know enough to own it. And so that's the whole point. They call it $1 trillion market cap, but if you look at how much money is actually going in volume wise, it's a very, 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 very small amount. And so they're really just trading the same money back and forth. And so it's fake money. It's not real. It's all scam. It's definitely going to crash. I feel like it could have done what GME and AMC are about to do had the whole market crashed and like everyone just ran to Bitcoin, and which might have been the case had the government not created a hedge against themselves. But now that GME and AMC are a thing as of the end of January, Bitcoin it's dead. It's the bubble that Michael Burry says it is. It definitely had potential, so I'm not calling people that are invested in Bitcoin stupid because like it had the potential to be what AMC and GME is, but it just didn't get the break. So if you're invested in Bitcoin and you don't get the AMC and GME, I feel sorry for you. The BBC has series Americans should binge watch. Can't get you out of my head. It really is about us today. I don't really care to watch the BBC. I don't know if it's about animals or what's going on. All innovation derives from inequity. Where equity is enforced, Pol Pot Mao, innovation dies. Where equity is embraced, Europe, innovation falters. And now America's following right behind. And the whole point is that struggle is the only way we get to innovation. And for whatever reason, I was born with this energy to embrace and chase all the world's most difficult struggles that I could see that would put money in my pocket if I won. And I've been chasing $1 billion for forever. And now it's all coming to me. It's all coming to me. Now, what if I said China was behind extremist wokeism in the U.S.? That it was part of a destabilization campaign. Spooks are trying to tell me, but I can't yet say this. Still, are Americans really sabotaging math themselves? Spooks are trying to tell him he can't say this. Like, I'm telling you, the spooks are real. I think Meet Kevin is a spook. He works for the CIA. None of that money he's investing in has ever won was his money, and it was all insider trading, and he knew it was going up because he knew the Fed was going to pump it, and it's all this huge coordinated plan, and they thought they had everyone under control in one good little system where all the people just like thought one way about the stock market, and then boom, DFV comes in with the right hook, and I'm about to freaking close it. Oh, man. This is a stock channel. If you don't understand how Michael Burry's part of the stock market is a representation of the average American's confidence inside the establishment. If the stock market crashes, it means the people don't trust the establishment and they've had enough. That's the only way the market crashes. And I know it's crashing and I know it's coming because the second they see inflation, everyone sells everything. The houses all go for sale. Nobody's able to sell their house. Everything, gas prices go up. All the gas is running out of all the gas stations because it's getting more pricey and everyone thinks it's going to be twice as much the next week. And then the grocery stores are looking like COVID without food on the shelves. You got to eat the nasty beans that are left over that no one ever eats. And then all the other stuff, it's all coming back. Everything we saw in March, it's all coming back. And it's probably going to be here for like 30 days until I can calm the storm and let people know why everything is A-OK and we are headed the right way. Does that make sense? This is a stock channel. Like, the fact that you say, I thought this was a stock channel is insulting. Like, if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's all stock related. Everything's connected. The inflation's connected to the stock market, connected to the bonds, connected to the treasury yields, connected to the quantitative easing, connected to the stimulus bills and the money printing, connected to... like, what else? Everything. It's all connected. The church leaders, the Mormon church, and all these people saying they believe in America and the promise of America and the American dream and the Constitution. And all the old prophets of the Mormon church used to say stuff like that. And now they freaking wear masks and they make all these Mormon videos where they're all freaking muzzled with a mask. Get out of here with that. I can't handle it no more. I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't want to get banned for COVID. But COVID's a joke. Man, all right. All innovation derives from inequity. Where inequity. Where equity is enforced, Pol Pot Mao, innovation dies. Where equity is embraced, Europe, innovation falters. Literally, I know everything about stock options because my life has been so hard and I need $1 billion. And so I the first day I ever traded when I had $15,000 in my E-Trade account, I put it on a SPY that expires the next day, and it was like 1:50 p.m., 10 minutes before market close, and then boom, the SPY moves up 0.5%, and my 15,000 grew to 115,000. I put a market order sell, and the price plummeted, and it cashed me out, and I had $85,000, and I started with 15. That's when I put in the $500,000, and I went all in, and I didn't even care if I was going to make or lose money just because I knew I was learning, and everything I did, I was learning it, I was testing it, I thought I learned something, I tested it, oh nope, that was wrong, I thought I learned something, I tested it with real money, and if I didn't test it with real money, I can't trust it, so I had to put in the real money, I had to see it for myself, I had to see that I could put in $500,000 and take it all out in a second, and I did that, and I probably lost $10,000 in fees when I did that, but I don't care. I want to see how much volume the options can take. I want to see how much volume the stocks can take. I was pressing the limits on everything. Like, that's what I do. I had to know for myself, you know? Like, I looked at a lot of people. I paid for classes. Oh, I did a lot of those different things. But at the end of the day, I kind of like took everything with a grain of salt and then just went and learned it on my own. What is the next tweet from Michael? Oops. On to the next one. All right. This is one of the Bill Gates, Why Math is Racist. The concept of mathematics being purely objective is unequivocally false, and teaching it is even much less so. Upholding the idea that there are always right and wrong answers perpetuate objectivity as well as fear of open conflict. This is my favorite. Everyone would say options are like debatable and all this other stuff. I got mathematical proof of things I've already built. My UI that I'll go over in a little bit. My profits I've gotten from options, the explanations I can give to people, my Excel page right here. Probably a lot of you would be interested in this one. This is how you calculate the option that you buy and what it might be worth at expiration based on how much it moves, whether it's 1%, 2%, or 5%. Basically showing you at 1%, none of them make a profit. At 2%, the best one is 325, but at 5%, the best one's at 307 with 3,800% ROI, while the best one for a 2% gain was only 104% ROI. Like, this is real math right here. This is how it works. And so when they say stuff like this, I already know anything they can bring up about what's, well, like they're gonna literally try to bring up God and say I can't prove God, so he might like it's debatable, right? And it's like, I don't care if that's debatable. Everything else is not debatable. Printing $6 trillion in a year is not freaking debatable. Doing COVID lockdowns and stop going to work and pretending that our bodies don't have immune systems is not debatable. Getting fat and stupid and watching TV and being lazy human beings and not learning and not challenging ourselves is not debatable. It's always the wrong choice. If you're being a gluttonous pig, you are wrong in life. It was not about vacationing for the rest of your life. It was about having a good life and making life good for all people, but then also like working hard for that, right? Like, it doesn't come free. It doesn't come cheap. And you got to learn how to love life and love the work. But also, I believe we can only love the work if we get the finer things of life. And the people that work the hardest deserve the finest things of life. And I am going to build a new system that's just like that. Promise. Promise. All right. What else? He says, my kids say I don't know how to use Twitter because he deletes the tweets every like 3 hours, and that's not a normal thing for people. What if I said China was behind extremist wokeism in the U.S., that it was part of a destabilization campaign? Spooks are trying to tell me, but I can't yet say this. Still, are Americans really sabotaging math themselves? And then one of those things that we read. I know I already read that one, but this was a different view of it, a better view. What does this say? I read all of those already. What does that say? I read all of those already. This one says gold is expected to move with real yield, and hence a little inflation mirroring an increase in real yields would not be good for gold bulls. This is the relationship of the last few decades in a high hyperinflation paradigm shift. Gold will serve its purpose. It always has. Interesting. He's saying if you got gold and you're banking on gold only, that you could get upset if the treasury yields go too high. I didn't know that would hurt gold. But he's saying if it's just inflation, then gold is definitely going to serve its purpose and it will run with inflation. So he's saying gold may be a good one. But we secretly know he only likes GameStop. But I secretly know GameStop and AMC are both moneymakers. Hitchhiking back to the 90s sounds good these days. Rob Zombie can take you there or anywhere. And to this day, nothing has been heavier. And it's a YouTube video that says, use my third arm. And then this one says clouds over California. It's a YouTube video. This one says, here's Devil Driver with the best metal cover of a pop song ever. And please welcome Dez Evil River back. Dez doesn't do filler and he does not quit. And then it's a YouTube video of Sale. But I guess it's supposed to be metal. And it probably is pretty bomb song. This one says, do not underestimate the power of stimulus checks. This chart compares the M2 money supply to QE assets to direct cash payments. Those checks play a big role. And unlike QE, direct payments don't trap inflation in the securities assets markets. Helicopter money. And unlike quantitative easing, direct payments don't trap inflation in the securities asset. So he's saying every time they hand out the real cash to everybody else, the inflation is felt more significantly than when the Fed takes money and quantitative eases the market, like I've been telling you it's been doing. Let's see. Ooh, that's a long read. Okay. So this is obviously an attachment that he posted. It says, the overnight, none other than the big short Michael Burry, who has been rather busy making waves within the financial community with his hot takes, most recently his slam of Robinhood and his bullish view on uranium, picked up on the theme of webinar Germany and specifically its hyperinflation as the blueprint for what comes next in lengthy tweet storm, cribbing generously from Parsons' seminal work. And while the details are familiar to most monetary historians, the fact is that now none other than the man who was made famous in The Big Short is calling for a webinar-style hyperinflation in the U.S. Below is an easy, digestible repost of Burry lengthy Saturday tweet storm, which shows just how similar our world is to that prevalent in the years just before Weimar Germany saw the most expensive hyperinflation in history. The U.S. government is inviting inflation with its MMT-tinged policies. Brisk debt, GDP, M2 increases while retail sales, PMI, stage V recovery. Trillions more stimulus and reopening to boost demand as employee and supply chain costs skyrocket. The U.S. government is inviting inflation with its MMT-tinged policies. Brisk debt, GDP, M2 increases, while retail sales, PMI stage V recovery, trillions more in stimulus, and reopening to boost demand as employee and supply chain costs skyrocket. The life of inflation in its ripening stage was a paradox which had its own unmistakable characteristics. One was the great wealth, at least of these favored by the boom. Many great fortunes sprang up overnight. The cities had an aimless and wanton youth. Prices in Germany were steady, and both businesses and the stock market were booming. The exchange rate of the market against the dollar and other currencies actually rose for a time, and the mark was momentarily the strongest currency in the world on inflation's eve. Side by side with the wealth were the pockets of poverty. Great numbers of people remained outside of the easy money, looking in but not able to enter. The crime rates soared. Accounts of the time tell of a progressive demoralization which crept over the common people, compounded of their wariness with the breakneck pace to no visible purpose, and their fears from watching their own precarious positions slip while others grew so conspicuously rich. Almost any kind of business could make money. Business failures, bankruptcies became few. The boom suspended the normal processes of natural selection by which the non-essentials and ineffective otherwise would have been culled out. Speculation alone, while adding nothing to Germany's wealth, became one of the largest activities. The fever to join in a turning a quick mark infected nearly all classes. Everyone from the elevator operator up was playing the market. The volumes of the turnover in securities in Berlin Bourse became so high that the financial industry could not keep up with the paperwork, and the Bourse was obliged to close several days a week to work off the backlog of #RobinhoodDown. All the marks that existed in the world in the summer of 1922 were not worth enough by November of 1923 to buy a single newspaper of the tram ticket. That was the spectacular part of the collapse. but most of the real loss in the money wealth had been suffered much earlier. Throughout these years, the structure was quietly building itself up for the blow. Germany's inflation cycle ran not for a year, but for 9 years, representing 8 years of gestation and only 1 year of collapse. His punchline, the above was written in 1974, re 1914 to 1923, and then makes the ominous extrapolation that 2010 to 2021 gestation, adding that when dollars might as well be falling from the sky, management teams get creative and ultimately take more risk, paying out debt-financed dividends to investors or investing in risky growth opportunities has beaten a frugal mentality hands down. Whew! That was a big one. So basically, he explains that Germany went through hyperinflation and is saying that the United States is about to go through it as well. And he's saying we're about to see something similar to the 1914, 1923. And it's happening because of all the stimulus money and free money's going everywhere. Anyone that's a hedge fund or any type of investment firm has got to be telling people they can get them 30% returns. Otherwise, they'll go to someone else that is saying 30% returns. And so everybody's saying 30% returns. And so everyone's getting more and more risky with a larger percent of the money. And more money came out of bonds. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And what does it lead to? It leads to a market collapse where one day a lot of money is going to start going into bonds, and then all the money goes into bonds. And then when the bonds start crashing, all the money will move from there, and it'll probably go to gold or silver. And then when that starts crashing, all the money's going to finally get to GME and AMC. Oh, that's a good read. All right. We love Michael Burry. Give us some Michael Burry. And if anyone thinks Michael Burry, like all these tweets, got nothing to do with the stock market, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you're a Democrat and you're just offended that I hate you. Woo! Shots fired. All right. I was introduced to this poem by Cecil Shea, my high school English teacher. This is all Michael Burry, remember. This is not me talking. All right, so I was introduced to this poem by Cecil Shea, my high school English teacher. She went on to a terrific career as a U.S. diplomat all over the world. I had 3 great teachers in high school, all in English, and I credit each of them. Prior to moving to Chicago, this is like a little picture. Oh, sorry. This is a little meme that he shared, and it says, prior to moving to Chicago, Cecil served as a U.S. diplomat for over 2 decades. She spent much of her career working on Asian issues, including as political advisor to U.S. Marine Corps Forces Pacific, press attaché, and media analyst, chief at U.S. Embassy Tokyo, senior political policy officer at U.S. Embassy Islamabad, Pakistan, and vice consul Chiang Mai, Thailand. Shea's other overseas tours included U.S. Consul General Edinburgh, Scotland, and political policy officer Tel Aviv, Israel. She spent a year as a foreign policy fellow in the office of former Senator Joe Lieberman and was a national security affairs fellow at the Hoover Institute. So I know a lot of this doesn't have to do with stocks, but again, we're trying to understand who Michael Burry is. We're trying to kind of see what are the things that he thinks is important. And so he's posted about his family, his wife, and their struggles, and the restaurant that you can go to show patronage to Vietnamese people. He's posted about inflation. He's posted about all these things, right? We're working on big pictures here. We're not looking on that one thing that makes it all so true and tells us that one day it's going to happen. We are looking to get you guys into diamond hand mode, so you YOLO everything into the stuff that I've talked about, and then when it does pop, you don't cash out before it gets in the money. And so you get the real profits when it's finally in the money or past in the money, and then you cash out, and then you help me buy more stock at the right time, so we all freaking we fulfill the prophecy, remember? All right, and then this one says, my favorite verse of poetry from Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. Never irrelevant because it's always relevant to someone somewhere. I was an English major for a time at UCLA, left when I was accused of plagiarism, of which I was innocent. And we will read that poem in a second when we see it. I'll read this part because I don't know if I actually brought in the actual poem, but this part says, turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falconer cannot hear the falconer. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed and everywhere. The ceremony of the innocents is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst... I can't remember. Like, it was in that title. I can't remember exactly. While the worst are full of flamboyant energy or something like that. And they're retards and don't know anything. They're just all energy and all talk and all hype, and they don't actually work for anything that they know. Like AOC is a perfect example of that. Like the lax conviction would be like every Republican politician ever except for maybe Trump. And then the overhyped energy, the phony energy, that's like AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, freaking Pencil Neck Shift. That guy's the worst. There's a lot of them. Any of the CNBC, CNN, even Fox News, honestly. Oh no, what happened? Oh, it's just one back. Okay. So this one says, because fear allows you to be controlled when one we'll read that one later when I got a better screenshot. This one says, indoctrination is real. Was sent to me a first grade teacher. The KGB agent warned us long ago. Nothing is more threatening to America than the anti-American indoctrination of our K through 12 and university students. Participation trophy mindset is America's kryptonite. Like, this dude's a conservative. This dude, like, he's talking about freaking free energy, and he's talking about, like, no taxes on some things, lots of taxes on yachts and things, and then he's over here talking about freaking no participation trophy and all this other stuff. Like, you can... everything's not black and white, but everything is what it is. And so some things are true and some things aren't true. Participation trophies are super bad in the mindset that everyone has to get one all the time. But, like, helping people out when they need it is not, like, you can be for one and against the other. It's not just, like, you got to be for everything retarded and all these stupid LGBTQ, like, all the crazy ones inside of there. Like, if you want to be gay, go be gay. Ain't nobody care. Like, just don't make it a part of your life and don't tell me about it every 2 seconds and I'm good with you. But it's I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let's read what this... So he had an attachment next to that America's Kryptonite post, and it says, Restorative Justice 1. How do restorative discipline practices hold space for dignity of our students and ourselves? What would look like if restorative discipline practices were centered in our school as opposed to traditional punitive systems of punishment? March, Restorative Justice 2, Wendy Kurt Sarah. How would restorative justice impact students' worldview and their sense of power and privilege? On students who exist outside of the dominant culture, how do these systems impact students' spiritual, academic, and psychological health? April, competition. Name some instances where competition undermines collaboration and community within my classroom. Name ways I can promote a classroom that focuses on community and moves away from individualism. We will never move away from individualism. That's the worst line I've ever heard in my whole freaking life. I love individualism. That's what America's all about. The American dream is that one person, if better than everybody else combined, can topple the system. That is the American dream. That individualism, if one person works for it, he deserves it and he will get it. Because that's how this world works. It's a science. The law of attraction is real. If you want it, and if you really want it, you work for it. And everybody gets what they want when they work for it. I mean, there might be some true tragedy stories, but almost none. Like 90% of people are getting what they want if they work for it. So I am sick of the excuses. All right, we're halfway through. Is it too early? She is too hot, and today's short sellers are timid, but Wall Street will be ruthless in the end. Let's see. Of the 29 stocks that ARK owns, more than 10% of only 5 have seen more puts than call trades on average over the last 5 days. Whew. That means everyone's bullish in what she had a month ago, but that's about to change. All right. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions? Who spends himself in a worthy cause? Who at the best knows in the end of triumph of high achievement? And who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat? By Theodore Roosevelt. Michael Burry posted that, and I swear it's talking about me right there. I am in it to win it, guys. Like nobody else. At least nobody else that's poor. Whew! Alright. 3rd year of medical school, my father died, and my debt became pared to $54,000 wrongful death settlement payment. I could pay off 1/3 of my debt, or I could invest the $54,000 windfall in myself. Chose the latter. When I left for college in the summer of 1990, my last image of my dad was my fist impacting his face. Even though there are books and a movie about me, you cannot assume anything about my background. Imagine how more true this is for anyone else you might feel the need to judge. Like, he kind of sounds like some Jesus stuff, but you know he's not Jesus stuff. Otherwise, he would have been, like, he'd be saying it on my level. But I don't even think he wants to be Jesus stuff. Like, this guy got a bunch of kids, and he's just trying to protect his family right now. Bitter ad followed me. Sweet, sweet. All right. The successful people I've gotten to know well in Silicon Valley were not trust fund kids, but rather worked hard, had a good situation, and ditched it all to take a big risk sometime in their mid-late 20s. And that's what I did when I left Stanford residency with all that debt. That's what I've been doing since I got out of high school. The Second Coming poem. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Free psyops, he says. Those saying me and Munger and Singer are so out of touch are not considering that we have seen this all before and not just one time. Only one party has a vested political interest in keeping the poor poor. This party is also the only party that cancels those whom with it disagrees, and the only party whose extreme elements actually carry policy sway. Also the only party in history to... Democrats ask Biden to give up his unilateral power to launch nuclear codes. That is me and Michael Burry saying for the first, last, and all the times, and he'll say it many, many times, get out of here, Democrats. If you do not denounce the party of the Democrats, you are not on my team. The Democrats are the evil ones. Out of everyone in this world, you look at China and you're saying China's the bad guys. Even Democrats are saying China's the bad guys right now. There's all these Democrat podcasts that are talking bad about China. No, Democrats are the bad ones. China might be like manipulating them to do whatever they want, whatever type of thing. But like, they're the ones that want to be manipulated and they're getting paid to be manipulated. Like, all we got to do is put a better person in and all of our problems are solved. But it's got to be someone like me. Like, they got to be so real. Like, Trump was almost able to do it, but he wasn't willing to take control. And I guess that's the difference right there is it shouldn't be done by a president taking control. It's got to be done by a free market person that the people just love and the people give control. So when you guys all bank with me with your mortgage, your savings account, your investments, and I build you an E-Trade and anything that you do anywhere with money with anyone, I'll build one for you. I'll do a crypto one if you want. I'll do all the things that you want. Whatever exists after this whole reset happens, whatever exists, I'll build it and you can have it. Like, No one else is going to build something, and you're not going to have to go somewhere else to have something. Like, I got it. Like, we're doing American made. We're going to have like Apple, how they want you to do everything Apple. That's what mine's going to be like, but it's going to be grocery stores. It's going to be working jobs, building houses, real estate. It's all of it combined, and there's no more this take it off the top or giant huge commissions off stupid car sales and house sales. Like, I'm getting rid of all of that crap. So again, life's about to get better, but it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. But if you're watching this, like when shit hits the storm or hits the fan, like you're not going to freak out because I've already told you we're good. All you got to do is be patient. I don't know exactly how it all plays out, but I know it plays out and I know we win. 1,000 years of peace. Man. Oh, God. Let's see. I'm going to go through the chat and then I'll get started again. I didn't realize, like, I thought I was caught up in the chat, but I'm not even close. Everyone knows what a yacht is, even if you're poor. Bill Gates is an idiot. So we don't care about Bill Gates. Ain't nobody ever loving Bill Gates in my chat. Michael Burry 2021. Michael Burry for a president wouldn't be a bad idea, but like only if he does it, he would only do it under the pretense of I will go be president, but we're gonna stop spending money and I'm only gonna try to get things under control and it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. So if you make me president, don't expect it to get better right away and don't expect not to have to work out of this. Like there's no quick fix to this. Like if he had that kind of attitude of like basically we got to start being conservative and treat life like it's real and it's not all a game and money isn't fake and we can't just print it out of thin air and that you have to create it, and if the business didn't create the value then you can't create the dollar. Like once things are created then we can print money because there's a house built to replace that money. Like it makes sense why the money exists. But when all these trillions exist and they shouldn't, then we get this problem. Let's see. I'm sorry. I see somebody giving props to Kathy Wood. When Michael Burry was talking about Kathy Wood, he was not promoting her. He was saying she's the biggest bubble ever, and that all of her stocks are 20 times earnings more than any other company. And like basically their stocks are way overvalued compared to all the other companies. But because she's out there pushing her stocks, all the stocks that she's in, people are buying calls like massive right now, which is driving speculation, causing prices to go up, especially when the Fed pumps the stock as well. But it's a temporary thing, and he knows it's all coming down crashing, and he knows Tesla's going to zero. Yeah, I don't think he ever really talks about Tesla, but he says like Tesla, Bitcoin, freaking that chick, they're all tied at Kathy Wood, they're all tied at the hip. There's a 0% chance that aliens are involved. Our world has been grown with just a bunch of idiots running everything. It's kings and queens. America freaking broke free of it all and became the most dominant superpower. And everyone freaking got like they didn't mess with us, and the free market did its thing, and we had all the major successes that no other country ever had, and we crush everyone in all ways and manner of thinking when we think about what's the best, right? Like our average of a person is not the best in the world per country, but our best is better than everybody. We're the best because we got people that are born into this feeling of hope and ambition and ability to solve their own problems, and everybody else in China and everywhere else, it's just you do what you're told, you learn what you're told to learn, and you fulfill this purpose in your life that somebody else decided for you, and that ain't how Jesus lives. All right, he's got a joke here. It's a picture of his face, and he says, "You too can get that resting angry face. New 2 a.m. selfie profile pic last night. What I look like after staring at the computer for 20 hours, about 8 hours past dead tired. 20 hours straight at the computer is a long computer. Like, that's, like, even if you're playing a video game, 20 hours is gaming." Disruptions during this pandemic may increase the number of high school dropouts over 10 years by 3.8%, while also reducing the number of college educated workers. Will shrink the incomes of Americans for 70 years. All worth it to win 2020, right? New York Times. Whoo! That's shots fired from Michael J Burry to New York Times. Boop. You're looking for something, but what could it be? You look for a hero. Well, don't look at me. You look for solutions, but there's none you can find. You believe in something that's only in your mind. You're looking around you, but hate has made you blind. It's a YouTube video that says State of Emergency. Sounds like a band. It's probably a song, but it sounds like he's playing a lot of that stuff, that like hardcore rock metal stuff. And my favorite one that plays a lot of songs like this is called Head PE, HEDPE. Like, my favorite song would be called like Stay Ready, but I also really like I don't know, they got a few good songs, but Stay Ready is my favorite for sure. Let's see here. All right, let's see. What does this one say? The blunt fact is that it is Democrats, including those who run the West Coast from California through Oregon to Washington State, who have presided over one of the worst blows to the education of disadvantaged Americans in history. New York Times. And then he goes on to, so that was a quote from the New York Times, and now he says, "Okay to say out loud now that Trump's gone? Okay to say that the Democrats are the worst now that Trump's gone and Trump wasn't the worst and we all just lied about that?" Oh, that makes sense. Okay. What's next? Dropped out of high school, couldn't get a job, self-medicated with alcohol and meth, died homeless. Failures during this pandemic will produce countless more. That was a quote from the New York Times, and it says, "Go scream it in 2020 or you have blood on your hands." And it says, "School closures have failed American children." This one says, "We have to acknowledge that there is a large percentage of kids that have disappeared students who have never logged in and never fully engaged. And we knew the consequences and shut down all along political lines." What that means is they all got this online training, and a lot of kids, they just look at it and they just turn the computer off and say, "I can't do this." That's sad. Someone is cataloging all of the freak's proclamations like he's worthy of being recorded. I don't get it. What is this guy's angles anyway? Doom, blah, 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 gloom, blah, blah, blah. So basically, there's a Twitter called Michael Burry Archive. I've never looked at it, but it's at some point started collecting all of Michael Burry's tweets like I did. He probably did a little bit better job than I did, honestly. I doubt he got the Excel one that I missed, though, because it was only up for like an hour. I'm pretty sure I'm one of the only people that actually saw it. But, Jimmy and all the meme stocks could wipe out national debt if it plays out correctly. Sean, are you going to ever call in and tell me why I'm the crazy man and you're not the crazy man? Or why you're so smart and I'm so dumb? Everyone was waiting for you to call, Sean. Everyone was asking for you to call. Both parties are worthless. Mark Cuban says the meme stocks could be the great equalizer. It's not the meme stocks, it's GME and AMC only. Anything else is a total freaking scam. I agree, both parties are worthless. We need that Jesus party in the house. So yeah, this tweet was pretty funny. Like he's kind of hating on himself, calling himself a freak just because he knows that what he's saying sounds really crazy and it's really hard for people to hear, and everyone wants to attack him and say, "Stop telling people the market's gonna crash. If it does crash, it's your fault." And it's like, dude, it's not his fault. Like he can't make the market crash by saying the market crashed. If the market crashes, it was always going to crash. All right. And this one says disruptions during this pandemic may increase the number of high school. Oh, I read that one. Just kidding. This one says 4/6/2020. Stay at home reverses the gains of underprivileged groups, kills and creates drug addicts, beats and terrorizes women and children in violent, now jobless households, and more. It bleeds deep anguish and suicide. Hashtag unholy. Hashtag political terrorism. And the Fed and the Democrats. Yes, Kathy Wood is definitely a puppet. All right, Tucker and cringeworthy segment on the Tucker had a cringeworthy segment the other night. If you want to take a look, some freaks seem to be saying rates are going to go way up, and Tucker puts those views on a number one cable news shows for the 25 to 54 demographic. I mean, right? Tucker, Biden economic policy could destroy households. Basically, he's being sarcastic and he's happy that Tucker talked about it because no one else is. This one says, bears make money, bulls get trapped, pigs get slaughtered. This is not a haiku. This one says, I mean hyperinflation. Hashtag hyperinflation. It's amazing what passes for news these days. The limelight really goes to the last deserving. When the CDC in April 2020 made COVID deaths a doctor's clinical judgment versus a lab test, and this was paired to lucrative government reimbursements for COVID cases and otherwise 70% empty hospitals, I resolved to doubt the official COVID death total. Facts. COVID ain't shit. BTC is speculative bubble that poses more risk than opportunity despite most of its proponents being correct. I think we read that one. How many dollars can actually fit in a right tail? At Kathy D. Wood. Like, he's definitely trolling Kathy Wood. It's like the markets forgot Jay Powell is Jay Powell. They have to see him or they forget. So we have an Alzheimer's POTUS and an Alzheimer's market. We have a barbell society and the government shut it down to shaft the poor more so it can pump stocks more? What the F and the Fed? Michael J. Burry speaking facts. This one says, the existence of NFTs is a sign of society collapsing. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. And like NFTs just hit the news mainstream last week. So I'm feeling really good about this week just because of that tweet alone. Like this tells me from a month ago, as soon as you hear about the NFTs being heard by everyone, that's when we collapse. That's what I kind of took that as. So I'm really bullish this week. Tread lightly, leave no footsteps, make an impact. He's telling that to all of you except for me because I'm Jesus, so I can kind of tread a little bit harder than everyone else. And then his first little thing said, free psyops. People say I didn't warn last time. I did, but no one listened. So I warned this time, and still no one listens. But I will have proof I warned. Don't worry. I got you, Michael. I got the proof. And then this is his nuclear energy article thing that he always had on his Twitter before he changed it recently. And it says, Burry touts nuclear as clean energy solution. Contributing analyst Anthanosis Sapargas. That's a crazy name. I'll never be able to pronounce that. Nuclear energy's potential was endorsed recently by Michael Burry, the hedge fund manager of Big Short fame, who had who also helped spark the surge in GameStop shares. Burry suggested in a February 11th tweet that the U.S. government should spend $2 trillion to convert to nuclear power, saying it would provide limitless electricity without any greenhouse gas emissions. It's unclear whether Burry owns any uranium stocks, but his views have influence among some investors. Support for nuclear energy has mostly come from the outside the financial world, from the likes of billionaire Bill Gates. Nuclear is ideal for dealing with climate change because it is the only carbon-free, scalable energy source that's available 24 hours a day, Gates said in 2019. If the government is going to spend $2 trillion, there's no better use than converting the U.S. to nuclear. Dems can do it. Jobs plus potentially limitless electricity, no greenhouse gas emissions, green future now. Michael Burry, CEO of Scion Asset Management. Twitter, February 11th, 2021. Wow, that was one I missed. Nice. Oh, no, I didn't miss it. Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. I think I did miss it, actually. 2021, February 11th. I don't think I have that in my tweets. That's it, guys. That's Michael Burry for you.